Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about how Gon and Killua can get to the Dark Continent. This is a very popular theory and a thing that a lot of people want to happen, and personally it makes a lot of sense, right? We want the two main characters to join up for this amazingly set up Dark Continent expedition, right? When it finally happens. And now that they're finally brought back into this story, right? It's the B plot right now, but at the same time, it's still a humongous deal, and it leaves that possibility open, right? But obviously, both of them are a little tied down right now, right? They both have things that they can't really drop at the moment to go on an expedition. Number one, Gon doesn't have, he's not as strong as he was before. I know that's a big debate. Gon has Nen, he just can't use it like he did before. He has to train. And it's been a year so far. I'm not putting all that expectation on him, but he needs to have some type of use of Nen and some type of, strength or power boost going into the Dark Continent expedition. And that's why there's the big theory, or I think it's just set up properly to where Gon and Killua are going to encounter Gyro and have a whole arc with him, right? A big, massive fight. Gon's gonna, reawaken his power, get a power boost. That's what I think is gonna happen, right? Just so we reintroduce him into the story, right? After everything that has gone on, and the character development is also important as well, right? Because Gon is fighting a very formidable foe in Gyro, and he can't fight how he used to. He can't just rush in, he can't be reckless, he needs to think before he acts, right? And I'm not saying Gon's stupid, he's got a very high battle IQ, but when he's going up against a strong opponent like Pito, he's very risky and reckless, and it's just like, I'm going in. I don't care what the heck happens to me, and that's one of Gon's major character flaws. As for Killua, Killua is tied down because of Aluka, which really isn't that big of a deal, right? It's just that the Dark Continent isn't, really a safe place for Aluka, but she has connections there because Nanika is actually which is one of the anomalies from the Dark Continent. So that kind of does connect them there. And also, Gon and Killua also have ancestors that went to the Dark Continent. So we have Zigzoldic, and which a lot of people say, that's why we have Nanika, right? Because Zigzoldic got infected or something like that. And through descendants, Aluka got played as Nanika. So, which we love her. We love Nanika, right? She's best girl. For Gon, Gon has Don Freaks, who's possibly still alive, writing the other version of Journey to the New World. So they both have reasons to go there. And it's not, specific reasons to them, it's in their blood to go on this journey and this big, huge adventure, right? That's what Gon would want to do. Gon went with Kite and them to see the small build swans, and that was like a little taste of going on my own journey and having a little fun adventure. He's never gotten to do that, right? And he deserved it after everything he's been through with Jing. And debating if Jing's a good father and if the whole journey was worth it, that's a whole separate video, which I don't want to get into. But I think it would be a really good, moment if Gon did go meet up with Jing and went on a little journey with Jing, right? And more importantly, for him to go on a journey with Kurapika and Leorio. The biggest thing that I want for the Dark Continent arc is we have some major villains that we're going to have to go against, right? We have Beyond Netero, we have Pariston, right? Those are two big players that are going to be extremely strong, right? So we'll have to see what's happening with them. What I think is that maybe we can have the four main characters all fight beyond Netero, right? Jing and Pariston will have their own fight. That'll be cool, right? But wouldn't that be amazing? We've never seen that before. And it's partly due to, Leorio slacking a little bit, but we love our boy. But that's just something I don't think we don't see, right? I don't know how we'll never see the four main characters all team up and fight against a big bad. Because we've seen that in Yu Yu Hakusho countless times, right? That's what I love about that show is that the four main characters are so close, and I'm not saying that the characters in Hunter x Hunter aren't, but they don't get enough screen time, really. We have the Hunter exam, we have the Zoldyck family mansion, we have Yorknu, and then the election arc is really, just three of them. So when do we really get, besides the movies, which that's all fan service anyway, and the fan service is seeing the four main characters together. So that's just something I really hope we get, and that's like, a big part of why I want this to happen, right? But now getting into how they will go, right? So they definitely need to deal with the whole situation with Gyro and Wobble first, because that's the priority, and that's what directly leads them back into the arc. Now, I think once they do get a Nen Exorcist and get Wobble all cleared and safe, right? Gon and Killua can get um Queen Oito's sister and Wobble out of there wherever she is, right? I know she's royalty, but let's get her out of there. Maybe they can go to Whale Island, bring them somewhere secluded where they're safe and nobody's gonna bother them. They can get people to protect them. They can find somebody, right? I personally believe we're going to have Kite with us. I think Kite is one of Gon's main players, somebody that Gon's going to use to train with and learn, to reuse his powers, right? Get the use of his Nen going again, along with Wing, and a very big deal as well, Zushi. Zushi should be back in the story if they're going to the Dark Continent. I know he's not the strongest, but he's had all this time to develop some kind of Nen ability, and I don't think Togashi would do that, because Gon and Killua mastered their abilities and have, are so much stronger than they were from the Heaven's Arena that Zushi is going to develop something and be useful and go with them. That's just something I see. Now, for how they're going to actually get there. So, once they have Wobble secured and safe, and somebody protecting her, whoever it's going to be, they'll find somebody, right? And even though Whale Island is so remote and no one ever really goes there, it's like stated by Gon that he's so bored, right? Like people visit, but not the Kakin Empire, right? So, I don't know. But for them to get there, I was thinking this whole theory of Greed Island of, yeah, that'll be perfect. They'll go into Greed Island again, and they'll do the same thing they did to meet Kite. That doesn't make as much sense as something that I just seen the other day. I completely forgot about the moment when Killua asks Nanika to teleport Illumi back to the Zoldyck mansion. That's how they're going to get to the Dark Continent. They're going to say, Nanika, teleport us on the Black Whale, or bring us to Bisky, or whoever it is. She probably needs to have met that person. Or I don't know, maybe not, because it's Nanika. She could destroy the verse if she wants. And that was the problem I was having, is that Nanika is so overwhelmingly broken that it almost ruins the verse. I'm sorry, it really does, because they can wish for anything. The only drawback, really, is that Killua doesn't want Nanika to be known to the world, right? Which, that does give them some restrictions, right? Like, there's certain things she can't do in front of people. But, I mean, that's not in their nature either. I don't think that's in Killua's nature or Gon's nature to rely on a super genie that can just grant any wish. Obviously, it would be the most helpful for Nanika to bring them to the Black Whale, right? A group of them, Kite, Zushi, maybe some of Kite's crew, whoever it is, and they go and they have a great time. They meet up with Karapika and Leorio, and, we go to the Dark Continent. And we have that. We have our two main characters back in the story. That's the end goal, and what I think needs to happen. But this isn't going to be for a while, though. And it really depends on what Togashi is going to do with them, because there is a chance it's just, 5 chapters of, rekindling with Gon and Killua, and they go on this little journey to, find Wobble or whatever it is, and they get it. Like, it could be simple. Like, they have one little fight, and that's it. But I don't even think that's really. They need to do something with Gon. He's the main character, right? It just doesn't seem like that's possible. So, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you think Togashi has in store for Gon and Killua? Because remember, we do have that panel where we basically seen Gon. It looks like really just like him. I don't know who else it could be, but if it is him, we're getting them back in the story. As for what they're doing, as for how long they're going to be in the story, we're not sure. But my personal end goal is for them to meet up with Karapika, Leorio, and have a great time. Also, there's drawbacks with Karapika, right? With the whole Emperor Time stuff, where I personally believe after his fight with Saradnik, his lifespan is going to be very decreased. Now, we have Leorio there, who he wants to save his friends, and he's going to the Dark Continent. They have so many good resources there. They have, like, the Herb of Life that heals any disease, and then they have Nitro Rice, which prolongs your lifespan. So they're going to the right place if Karapika does get damaged with this drawback. But Gon and Killua, if they hear anything about that, they're pulling up to make sure it gets done. They're going to save their friend no matter what. That's what Gon and Killua would do. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It's been SJ Benj. Peace.